Welcome to another edition of Strategic Moves with Lou. I'm Mike Hendren, a licensed real estate agent here in Wichita Falls, Texas with Strategic Realty. And next to me, of course, is Lou Italis, the owner-broker of Strategic Realty. How you doing?
Hey. Good.
Oh, what a week, what a month, what a year it's been.
Gosh.
We are
Trying to sell 2 new builds at the same time.
Yeah.
Is really trying.
Yeah.
But we did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yes, we did. We did. I may need therapy.
Done. Yeah.
I may need therapy. I just, I saw a funny meme on Facebook. A buddy of mine shared it. He said, I'm starting to see a 3-day commitment in a psych ward as a vacation option.
Oh my gosh, I can totally relate.
Yeah, just lock me out.
That's the only way that I'll probably get a vacation.
Get some good injectable drugs or something.
My gosh. Yeah, because you go on vacation.
Legal stuff.
Yeah, you go on vacation and you wind up working. It's a working vacation.
So
you get back and you need a vacation from your vacation.
I left town for 4 days, and I had my computer with me, had my phone with me.
Worst mistake ever. Don't take your.
Well, here's the deal. So I get off way out in the sticks on Saturday, and
Wi-Fi.
about 2 hours into it, I go. It dawned on me my phone hadn't rang, my text message alert hadn't gone off, my email alert hadn't gone off, and I thought, this is weird.
Mm-mm.
To me, that's unusual. If I'm not getting something every 5 or 10 minutes going off somewhere, I look at my watch, I look at my phone, I go,
anxiety starts to kick in.
I have no service.
Oh.
I have nothing. It says no service. I got nothing. And so if anyone's trying to find me, they're not going to find me
Blood pressure.
Oh yeah. And it was, and of course where I am, I can't just leave right away. And so I'm out there for hours and I got nothing. So it's like,
that's when you have to just kind of go, woosah, and put everything down and be like, you know what? Not going to freak out. Let me just enjoy my time and get that.
So I figured when I get back to the house, this thing's going to blow up.
Mm.
And strangely enough, I had 3 emails and 3 text messages and 0 phone calls that I missed. At least they didn't come up as any. I'm like, wow, how fortunate for me, I guess, since I had no service. And, there's not many places you go now that you don't have service. I mean, most places you got some kind of coverage. There's still a few little pockets around the country that you can travel to where you don't have any service. And when you're in our business, that can be bad.
At least palpitation inducing.
Yeah, yes. The blood pressure goes up, and you got to double down on the vitamins and whatever else it is you're doing. So anyway, well, speaking of real estate, guys, so I guess the biggest news right now is interest rates. Still climbing, still going up.
I think they're supposed to go up this week, right? Or next week?
I think they already went up.
Oh.
The Fed has been teasing these increased interest rates, saying they're going to do, 4 or 5, whatever. That's one of the things we wanted to talk about today was in choosing a lender. Right now would be a smart move, don't you think, Lou, to choose a local lender to work with.
That's where I would start at first off.
Yeah.
Because local lenders will be able to have a little bit more competitive interest rate.
Right.
And at least that's where I would start if I were you, if I was looking for a loan.
Yeah.
And then if that wasn't, if you wanted to shop around and get a second opinion, which is always a good idea.
Sure.
I would probably stay away from the online ones, though, because they can be a little bit crazy.
Well,
and as always, make sure that you look at the fine print. Make sure that you look at what your loan origination fee is going to be, and that can be up to 1% of your sales price. Right. So you want to make sure that you're taking a look at that and see if the bank is offering you a discount on the interest rate because they're selling you points.
Yeah, if you're looking
That's
at
going to be a big thing right now. Is they're gonna get you with the points.
if you're looking at a $250,000 house, that's $2,500. 1%. I mean, that's that's a substantial
Or a
amount of
loan
money.
origination fee.
Yeah, and that's money. If you can reduce that, if you can get a better
It's going to
deal,
add to your closing cost. Is what it's going to do.
it's going to add. Yeah, and that's money you could be putting somewhere else in your new home. So yeah, shop local. I did my mortgage locally deliberately when I did mine because I wanted to work with number one. I wanted to work with a local lender. And number two, I wanted to try to work with a lender that was going to service that loan in-house.
Yes.
Rather than sell it off. Most of the time you take out a mortgage, immediately it's sold elsewhere.
Right.
And
An investor picks it up or something.
Right, or another institution or whatever.
And it gets transferred from one servicer to another sometimes 2 or 3 times before it settles in.
Yeah. So, I deliberately went searching for a local lender that could handle my loan and service my loan locally. And so that I could deal with someone local. And to me, there's a huge service benefit to that, to being able to pick up the phone and call someone local or walk into the office and talk to someone local.
If you're having a problem.
If you're having a problem or if you've got questions, if you start reading through all that paperwork and suddenly you find something that makes you go, what is this?
What child did I give up?
Exactly. Is it the right or left kidney I have to surrender at 10 years? What is it? So, you want to, I think dealing with someone local is just really good because it gives you those local people, especially when you live in a city our size.
Yeah.
This is how I equate it. Now, if you live in a Dallas or San Antonio, maybe this is not so much the case, very large cities. But when you live in a city this size, about 105, 6, 7,000 people, there's a good chance that the person you deal with in that bank, you're going to run into them at church or at the grocery store or at the mall. You're going to have to see them.
Building relationships.
Exactly.
And not to mention you're going to be keeping the money or keeping that flow of financial money.
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to put it. You're keeping that in your community.
Well, those are dollars that are getting reinvested in your
they're
community.
getting reinvested in your community. That's the word that I was looking for.
And that's a huge thing, especially, I think, especially in communities like this that are, Wichita Falls is trying to find a growth footing. We really are. We need to grow. We need to grow our talent pool. We need more people here to work. We need more people with very specific skill sets and very specific industries to live here. And so we're trying to find a footing for growth in this community.
And I think that we're pretty balanced to date in some things, but there's always room for improvement.
Well, it would be great if we could grow. This is the thing. The more houses we build, the more people we bring here, the more we spread out that tax burden. Okay, that's one thing. And then the other, the more people we can bring here that have the skill sets that we need in our community, the more we can grow our community. As our I think our population is poised to grow, but it's going to be slow growth for us. It's not going to be really explosive growth like you've seen in places like, Boulder, Colorado, or Austin, Texas.
I think that what we need is an industry, or maybe not so much an industry, but a geared towards the younger generation. We need to keep our younger generation here. And so we need to build towards that. Because the more we put in this town that attracts that younger generation, the 20s and the 30-somethings, then the more likely they're going to stay here rather than move on to Austin or Dallas or Houston, the bigger towns. Yeah. So, eventually, if we don't keep improving, if we don't keep updating our economy, update our systems, update our technology, our education, our entertainment, then these younger generations are just going to keep going away, and you're just going to wind up with a town full of geriatrics.
Well, it comes back to that conversation about quality of life. That's what people are looking for. What kind of life am I going to have there? What kind of life are my children going to have there? It's, you know, there
My
may have
kid,
been a
like, so for instance, I have a 28-year-old and a 20-year-old.
Mhm.
So I got both sides of the spectrum right now. And my 28-year-old, I mean, he loves it here. He's not going to go anywhere.
Mhm.
But my 20-year-old is already thinking about, oh, I got to get out of here. It's so boring. There's nothing to do. And I'm like, oh, God, there's so much to do here. You just don't go out
There
and
is.
do it.
There is. Well,
But
I think as a community, we could do a much better job of promoting what we have and promoting who we are.
yeah, we just need to get more.
Yeah,
That's the
we
big,
need more.
we need more.
Yeah.
We need to foster those good.
Well, and you know, where our industry plays into all of this, you know, we've been battling, we've been talking about this for forever now.
Real estate.
The lack of inventory, you know, having more buyers than you have available homes to sell them. And we still are battling that a little bit. I think
it's still a seller's
Yeah.
market, even with the increase in interest rates and
yeah.
lenders saying that there's less and less applications for loans in the last year. And frankly, a lot of it has to do with there's a lot of buyers that are out there that have cash, and so they're still buying houses.
Yeah.
Houses are still being bought. They're just finding other ways to do it.
Yeah.
Taking money out of their retirement, or they've just sold another house, or they're relocating from a place where they sold a house for $500,000 and they got more proceeds they can put towards just buying. Because Wichita Falls is still a very attractive place to live because our cost of living
Yes.
is so low.
Yes.
I mean, my brother just moved here from New Jersey. We went to a restaurant to go eat, and he looked at the bill, and he was like, 5 of us ate for $80. And he looked at the bill, and he was like, "Are you serious? That's it?"
In New Jersey, you can't eat at McDonald's for $80.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, that's the bill. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost that much to eat here."
Yeah.
So that's the silver lining for a lot of people, is that the cost of living here is very attractive.
Yes. Yes.
So
it
we
is.
just need to keep that going.
Well, keeping that in check. It goes back to a lot of this. It's economics 101. When it comes to our economy, there are certain factors that we as individuals have control over. We control what we spend. We control what we buy. We control what we invest. But there are a lot of extraneous factors that you can't control. And when you're talking about the housing market, here's what I think we're encountering in some cases. Some of that drop in mortgage applications, Lou, I think has to be people that have been in the market looking for a home. They go out, they put in an offer on a house, they get outbid. They lose out on this one. They go to the next one, they lose out on this one. They see a house they like, and it popped up on the website, 24 hours ago. They make the phone call. Oh, it's already in contract. Sorry. They've given up. I think some of the buyers have given up.
I completely concur.
Out of frustration. They've looked at, I've had a couple of clients like that. We looked at, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 houses before we finally found one, and we'd put in an offer and we were outbid by $20,000 or $15,000 or whatever. I think some of these people, just out of sheer frustration, have said, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop looking.
Take a break. Yeah.
I'll just keep renting, or I'll keep living in mom's basement, or, we'll go back to Motel 6 or whatever, and we're just going to stop looking right now. I really think some of them, out of frustration, have given up. And I think that's where some of that drop comes in. Don't you think?
I think it's a combination of everything. It's like a perfect storm at this point.
Well, sure it is.
The interest rates going up has made it a little bit less appealing to get a loan.
Yeah.
The fact that there's people that can get properties with cash, because it's like I said, the houses here aren't stupid expensive.
No, they're not.
With $200,000, you can get a fairly, decent house.
Get a lot of house.
Yeah. And so there's that. And then also the fact that, the people that were looking have decided that they're going to rent now. There's a
Right.
lot more rentals on the property on the market.
Well, and that's another area that we're struggling in here, and we seem to be struggling all over the country with it, but here we are, is the number of rentals available. You know, the people that are looking
There's a
for,
lot more right now. I mean,
Yeah.
they're popping up like crazy
but
because they're deciding that they don't want to sell their houses
Mhm.
or they prefer to rent because the rental rates have gone up so much.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. You look at the rental rate, you look at the price point. If you're in the market for a rental and your budget is $700 a month, good luck. Good luck. You know, if you can swing a budget of, let's say, $1,200-$1,300 a month and up, your options open up a little bit more. If you can swing a budget of over $1,500 a month, they open up a little bit more. You know, there's a couple of houses in my neighborhood that are being rented out, and they're $2,200 a month, $2,400 a month. I think there's
And they're
one.
usually only like $1,200 a month. I remember
Yeah.
when I first moved here to Wichita Falls, I rented a house over on McNabb, little itty bitty street, only like 10 houses on that one street.
Yeah.
And I paid $950 a month.
Oh, that's a bargain now. That is a super bargain now.
Was it 3 bedrooms? Yeah, it was 3 bedrooms, 2 baths,
And that same house right now would bring at least 16, wouldn't it?
if not more.
Yeah.
If not
At
more.
least 16 or probably probably
'cause it had a
2,000.
nice big backyard, 2-car garage.
Oh, well, now you're into the $2,000 range.
Yeah.
If you got a garage, oh yeah.
If they did a couple of updates to it by
Yeah,
now, because I mean
yeah.
this was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
did a couple of updates to it by now, then more than likely, you could get at least $2,000 a month for that.
It's wild what's happened.
Wild.
But again, you know, we're still in the situation where we've had not enough rental property. Now, you said the numbers are going up, so that's good. If people that are looking to rent, that's good for them. But at the same time, we've still got buyers in the marketplace that still can't find a house.
Yep. So if you're thinking about selling a house, now is still a good time to do it.
It is, and on the interest rate thing too. And I'm in no way, shape, or form an expert on interest rates. But
the consensus, though, that I'm hearing from lenders, and don't quote me on this because I don't know if this is, until it happens, you don't really know if it's true or not. But the majority of the lenders that I talk to say that it's going to be another 2 years of higher interest rates, and then it'll plateau.
Right.
And then, at some point in the next year, actually, it's going to plateau.
Right.
And then after those 2 years, it's probably going to start dropping again because it can't really go much higher than it is right now without pushing us into a recession.
Well, here's what I will tell you.
Into a serious recession. I mean, we already are in a recession.
We are.
We are. If it goes much higher than this, it's going to bust our bubble.
Here's what I'm a student of history. If you look at the history, if you look at the history of economics in this country, you realize really quick one consistent factor. It all runs in cycles.
It's cyclical, yeah.
We have highs, we have lows. We have highs, we have lows. It has been this way from the beginning, and it's not going to change.
Genesis 101.
Economic fundamentals are economic fundamentals. They don't change. It doesn't matter who is in charge in the White House or the Congress or anywhere else. There's all sorts of things that they can do to influence the economic factors. But the economic fundamentals are what they are, and they don't change. They just are what they are. And the fundamentals dictate that we will plateau at some point, and then things will start to slide down.
And they're projecting that it's going to be within the next year.
Yeah.
Because
And so
you can't really go much higher than we are right now.
I
guess it could go up another quarter or another half point or whatever.
These guys on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors may be crazy, but they ain't stupid. Okay, they're not going to go in here and do things that are going to deliberately crash and burn everything. They're not going to do that. I don't think we're going back to I've talked to people that say, I paid 16% interest on my home when I bought it in 1982. We're not going back to that.
No.
We're not going back to that, guys.
That'll never happen.
I think
They are
you're
going
right.
to get creative though with.
Oh, sure.
So I mean, like I said earlier, is you really have to make sure that you look at the fine print whenever you get an estimate cost
That's
or
right.
a fee cost, a fee estimate.
right.
That's what it's called. When you get a fee estimate, make sure that you look at the fine print or contact a real estate agent so that they can explain to you
Right.
what is involved in what they're charging you, because they're going to get more creative.
Sure, sure.
And-
And you know, there's going to be a point here where I think we're
And lately, hang on just a second. That distracted me. Sorry. Lately, what people have been able to do because of the increase in market values is roll in a lot of the closing costs into the sales price of the house.
right.
Well, that's going to be a thing of the past because a lot of these sales prices are actually going to matter now that this has changed the dynamic a little bit. So being able to roll your closing cost into your sales price is going to get a little bit harder to do.
So you got to bring more cash to the table.
Yeah.
You're going to have to bring
So-
more money to the table.
Right, exactly. So you're going to have to bring either more cash to the table or you're going to have to not pay high costs like your points or the loan origination points. You're going to have to be creative about that.
That kind of goes to what I was thinking. It's going to force. We're going to see a situation of where it forces people to have more skin in the game on the front end
Right. Yeah.
than on the back end.
Yeah.
And-
so
and-
it's going to flip it a little bit. Lately, it's been to where, there's enough equity in a home that you can actually add the sales add closing costs to the sales price.
Right.
And that's how people are coming up with these. They list a house for $275,000 and they wind up with an offer that it says, $290,000, but we're going to pay $6,000 in closing cost.
Right.
So that's where, and things are appraising for that. So there is enough equity room in these sales prices to do that. But that's going to start to taper off a little bit.
Well, we haven't had an appraiser on the show in a while.
Oh, yeah.
We need to get one
need to
back
talk to
on
Brady
because
and
I'm really curious to find out how things are changing in their world. With what they're seeing. The appraiser's job obviously is to figure out what is this house worth? What's the real value of it? And the dynamics are changing a little bit for everybody. It certainly is changing for them. And it's kind of sometimes, we can look at comps and we can come up with a value and we can be within, X percentage points of each other, 1 or 2 or 3% or whatever. But I had one not long ago that we looked at the comps and we felt like it's going to appraise for this, and it came in. I think it was like $8,000 lower, and we went, wait a minute. There's now when we went back and we talked with the appraiser, we looked at the math and we went, okay, yeah, I guess so.
If it's a creative house, I don't remember which one this was, but
Yeah.
if the house itself is a little bit hard to find comps for, it's in a rural area or it's a unique type of house.
It wasn't it's in an older area,
Yeah.
so it's
Sometimes that can happen.
all these
if you
homes are
don't
built
have-
in the 20s, 30s, 40s, so it's
It
tough.
can happen.
It does happen, and I really would. I want to get Brady or someone back on the show to talk about that and kind of get a feel for what's going on in their world right now and how all of these changing dynamics are affecting them. Same thing in the lending world. They're everything's changing for them.
We still haven't seen a really big flux or a big change in inventory on the REOs on the bank-owned properties.
Yeah. Now, what's up with that?
On the repos.
What's up with that?
Well, what I've gotten from a lot of the REO companies is that a lot of investors bought the repos
Okay.
while there was during the hiatus,
So the
during
moratorium.
the moratorium, a lot of investors just
Okay.
bought those repos.
Stepped in and bought those notes up. And,
Yeah, they just bought them.
Okay.
So they were no longer on the market.
Okay.
And so the repos that we're seeing now are from either something that was already in the works prior to the moratorium,
Okay.
and they're just trickling back on the market,
Right.
or new ones that are showing up because people are having issues now.
Yeah, because we're what now? We're about a year removed from the end of the moratorium. Are we? Were they that far out or close
I
to?
think it was September of
So
last
we're
year.
okay. So we're almost a year out.
Yeah.
So
And we really haven't seen much of a flux. I mean, I've only had 10 REOs since then, and usually I have 10 REOs a month.
yeah.
So it's still a really slow trickle.
And for those that don't know, REO, that's a bank-owned property.
Yeah, real estate owned, and
Yeah.
that's what it stands for.
It's
Real estate owned by a bank.
Yeah, they've taken control of it, because the person that was buying it defaulted on their.
Yeah,
on
it
their
got
loan.
foreclosed on. So foreclosures have been just slowly trickling back on the market.
And I know there toward the end, as we were getting close to the end of the moratorium, there was a big fear that the market was just going to be flooded.
And they would have, like I said, if the investors hadn't bought them as package deals. So a lot of those REOs got bought by investors that just had a lot of cash.
And one of the I read something interesting probably 2 weeks ago, and I hadn't had a chance to bring it up here, and we only got a couple of minutes left here. But one of the things that we're seeing, and I don't know so much here, but probably on the West Coast, on the East Coast, some of the larger metro areas probably more so. They're seeing more foreign investors
Yes.
stepping up and buying residential real estate.
Yep.
They're still buying. We've always had foreign investors buying up commercial real estate around the country, but now they've moved into the residential world.
Yeah.
And they're starting to buy up residential properties.
That is
And
true.
you'll have a single investor that might buy 20, 30, 40 homes, and all of a sudden they're a landlord,
Yeah, this is true. Everything is changing, so.
Yeah. Do you think have we seen very much of that here? Because I don't know that we have all that much here.
I have a lot of foreign investors.
Yeah.
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 I mean, they are. There's been a couple of times where I've gotten calls from. I mean, yeah, I've got investors that are in France, that are in South America, Brazil, that have purchased properties here in Wichita Falls, and I do property management for them, and they're not here. They're not
Right.
here local. Then I have one investor actually that contacted me from Colombia to buy some land.
Really?
Yeah, it varies from time to time.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of foreign investors that live here in Wichita Falls
Yeah.
that are from foreign countries that are
Right.
actually also investors.
Right.
So there's a variety of two different kinds.
Well, what this article specifically addressed were investors in foreign countries. They'll live here. They'll probably never actually see the property. They've got ready cash, and they're investing in residential properties for the purpose of having rental properties or flips or whatever.
Yep.
They're employing the services of a management company or
Yeah.
someone here in the United States.
I have two different companies that I do that for.
Yeah. So the investor will probably never see the property.
He's bought them all. I think it was like 5 or 6 properties, and he's bought them all sight unseen.
never laid eyes on any of them, and probably never will. And they'll resell them or whatever at some point. Or
I have never met him. I've never met him.
hey, the check's clear. The check's clear. That's what matters, right?
Well, as long as I collect the rent and send him the money. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's a friend of mine. He was he was in the trucking business for years and years and years, and he retired not long ago. And he somebody asked him one time. He said, "What all have you hauled in your life?" He said, "Everything." He said, "I've pulled every trailer, every load imaginable." He said, "There's nothing I haven't moved. I've moved houses, moved everything." And they're like, "Is there anything you wouldn't move?" He said, "Nope." He said, "As long as the check's clear or the credit card's good, I don't care. And as long as I'm not committing a felony and doing it, I don't care. Just let's
Load it
lock
up.
it up and go and just pay me." And he made a small fortune doing that too. Paid for several
as
trucks.
long as you're not breaking the rules. I mean,
Yeah, as long as I'm not breaking any laws and not violating anything, then hey, There's money to be made out there. And if you've got a house you want to sell, as Lou said a moment ago, now is as good a time as any to put it on the market. Give me a call. I'm Mike Hendren, 940-232-3876. I would love to list your home for you. We will find you a buyer. There is a buyer out there for every property. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I have yet to find a house in my career that I cannot sell.
Yeah.
Somebody cannot be sold.
Somebody will buy it. Mm-hmm. Somebody. And if you're looking to buy a home and you need some help, finding that perfect home, whether it's going to be a forever home or something you're going to live in for 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 years or whatever, call us. Again, 940-232-3876 is how you get a hold of me directly. You can call the office at
940-689-7900.
And visit us online at strategicrealty.net, and we will be more than happy to help you in every way we can. It doesn't cost you anything to talk. A conversation doesn't cost you anything.
Our office in Burke is coming soon.
Yeah, so we're maybe 90 days away or so from...
I think we're going to have a grand opening in September.
September. Wow.
Yep.
All right.
We would in August, but I'm taking a vacation.
Okay. Well, then there's that.
I'm taking a vacation, y'all.
And it may actually cool down by September. We might
we'll be able to sit outside and,
shouldn't be over 95.
Yeah.
In all of September. Anyway, guys, take care. We'll see you down the road next time with another episode of Strategic Moves with Lou.
Toodles.
All right.